Chris Wylie, a former employee of Cambridge Analytica, shocked Andrew Marr when he called for a second Brexit referendum to make sure the Leave vote was both legal and fair. Speaking earlier this morning, Mr. Wylie called for assurances that the Brexit vote was made fairly. His remarks came in response to Marr's questions about the legitimacy of the 2016 Leave victory, which he followed up by asking whether Britain should do it over again. Mr. Wylie became known as the Cambridge Analytica whistleblower last month after revealed how the company harvested the data of millions of Facebook users without consent. BBC Christopher Wylie shocked Andrew Marr when he called for a second Brexit referendum. He implicated the company in the surprise Democratic victories of Donald Trump in the US, and Brexit in the UK. Speaking to the BBC's Andrew Marr, Mr. Wylie said the British vote to leave the EU needed a Democratic mandate. Marr asked if the Select Committee says Chris Wylie is right about this allegations, and the connections between the campaigns and the data misuse approved. Are you really suggesting the referendum should be rerun? We should forget about 2016 and do it all over again, the whistleblower responded. I say this as someone who supported Leave, someone who is a Eurosceptic myself. This is a fundamental change to the constitutional settlement of Britain, the foundational law of Britain. If we cannot go back from Brexit, if this is a one-time decision, we need absolute clarity that the decision made by the British people was made fairly and compliant with the law. If that means we have to go back to the British people and ask for clarification, I think the British people should have a say and make sure what we are doing is with the consent of people. I say this as someone who supported Leave, someone who is a Eurosceptic myself. Chris Wylie, I want a democratic mandate for Brexit. The former employee of Cambridge Analytica has earlier claimed that the UK may not have voted for Brexit if it had not been for cheating by the Leave campaign. The ensuing scandal has since entangled Canadian data company Aggregate AIQ, which worked for the Vote Leave campaign during the EU referendum. Facebook, which has cut ties with the Canadian company, is looking into whether the firm had links with Cambridge Analytica, which is already being investigated over the data misuse claims. Mr. Wylie told MPs last week that AIQ had a significant conversion rate of between 5% and 7%, and had told him it had targeted 5 to 7 million people for the referendum. Aggregate IQ says it is not part of Cambridge Analytica, and both companies deny wrongdoing.